Good morning. The purpose of this video is to talk about what is known in Buddhist philosophy as the 10 worlds. And no, the 10 worlds are not 10 planets that are floating around in the cosmos. They're actually 10 life states or 10 life conditions that we as humans can experience at any given point in time during the course of any day and during the course of our entire lives, actually. As you can see, I have them listed on the poster behind me. And typically when I talk about the 10 worlds, I start at the bottom and work my way up. Number 10, the world of hell. Is kind of self-explanatory. Most of us probably wouldn't have a problem understanding this life condition from the standpoint of the Buddhist philosophy. I like to think of it as a life condition in which we have very little, if any, control over our emotions, over our thoughts, and sometimes even our actions. A good example of the life condition of hell would be if a person suddenly finds out that they've lost a loved one, and especially if that loved one was lost in a very violent way, killed in a car accident, or, you know, heaven forbid, murdered by another person. The person would have, under these conditions, a very difficult time bringing themselves out of the world of suffering and grief. No matter how hard they tried, it would be something that would be very difficult to do. And if they had access to the person who was responsible for this loss, they may even lose control over their actions and try to do harm to that person. Number 9. The world of hunger. Oh, I wanted to say also about the world of hell. Number 10, another good example would be if a person lost all of their silver, or if someone stole all of their Bitcoin. That would definitely put that person into a state of hell. Number 9, the world of hunger. It's kind of self-explanatory as well, except that it has nothing to do with food most of the time. A world of hunger, or a life state of hunger, I think would be described as a state in which a person just continuously is not satisfied. They may be continuously seeking after something, say for example money, trying to get rich quick, things like that, and they just things just never seem to work out. And so they just, particularly if they make a big part of their lives seeking money, or for example if a person is always, as they say, looking for love in all the wrong places, and they spend a good deal of time most of their lives just seeking, you know, romance and satisfaction through love, and it just seems to never work out. Every relationship seems to go kaput, or they just never seem to meet the right person. These are good examples of the life condition of hunger, particularly if it's an ongoing pattern in life. Number 8, animality. Really has nothing to do with animals, except that the life condition of animality is, you could say, it's related to animals in that the animal kingdom, the creatures in the animal kingdom, tend to revolve around the principle of the survival of the fittest, in that, you know, the larger, stronger creatures tend to dominate over the weaker ones and, you know, seek them out for prey and such as this. And when it comes to human beings, I think a good example of this is like in the workplace. If you have one co-worker or the other who's like always trying to one-up everyone else and get ahead and look good in front of the boss, and they don't really care about how it makes other people feel or look in the workplace. You could say they are, you know, consumed with this life state of animality. And another good example I like to think of is if a person has a boss, and the way I do it is like this: if the boss is always doing this to the employees to make themselves feel good or like they have power or something, then you could say that employer dwells in the world of animality. The world, the next three worlds up: number 5, rapture; number 6, tranquility; and number 8, animality. We call these the middle worlds. I do anyway, because I think they are the life states that most normal average human beings exist in most of the time during the course of any given day, and probably through most of their lives. And if you look at number 6, tranquility, you could say another name for this might be the world of calm. And this is where most people tend to just stay most of the time. If there's nothing particularly going on to make them happy, nothing's happening to make them sad, mad, whatever, you know, they just kind of go in a tranquil world. And if something happens in the environment, say someone pulls out in front of you in traffic, or you know, we can all think of probably a million things that tend to make us go down into the lower life state of anger. And then if something good happens, we win some money in the lottery, we suddenly meet a person who we, you know, say you go on a date and this person just seems to be, oh, everything I've been looking for, you know, you're just like up there in the state of rapture. But rapture and anger are the difference between rapture and like a true state of happiness is that it is always temporary, and it's dependent on what is going on around us, as is the case with all of the lower 6 worlds. I don't know if it shows up on the poster, but the lower 6 worlds are encased in a red box. And this is because the way I like to describe it is that they are they're different from the upper 4 worlds, as we call them, the 4 noble paths, because the lower 6 is largely dependent on what is going on around a person, what's happening in their environment, which means that in these worlds, we're kind of left having very little control over our life state, whether we're happy or not. And this is what is important about the upper 4 worlds, in that we come out of this lack of control, where we start to gain more control over our life condition and our life state. When we go into the worlds of number 4, for example, learning, the way I like to describe it is we're no longer just totally concerned with just the everyday, you know, survival, and we go into a higher life state of seeking answers to things that you might not normally think about in the course of every day. For example, what is the purpose of my life? What is the key to happiness? Or looking out into the universe and just wondering, you know, what's out there? Where did we come from? Where are we going? When a person starts seeking things outside of everyday normal existence, in my opinion, we are going into a world of learning. And then number 3, realization, sometimes called absorption, or the world of the cause-awakened ones. The way that I differentiate between these higher worlds of seeking answers to higher up questions. Learning is more of, maybe you read something in a book, you take a course and learn from the professor, or you just see interesting videos on YouTube and go, aha, that's interesting. But realization, world number 3, is more of learning these things and coming to these realizations through your own experiences. Most of us can attest to the fact that just learning something in a book means one thing has a certain amount of value, but when you actually experience those things in your own life, it really does have more meaning and more value. When we go up to world number 2, Bodhisattva, an actual definition of a bodhisattva in the philosophy of Buddhism is a person who is awakened to a higher cause in that they are concerned with the happiness of their fellow man. And the way I like to look at it is when we learn these things and become aware of these valuable things that we've learned throughout the course of our lives or just whenever, then we go outside of ourselves. Instead of just keeping those things to ourselves and enjoying them for ourselves, we're able to take those things and work to help other people achieve happiness, or to just, if you see someone is suffering and you have learned from your own experience things that they could maybe do or not do to come out of their suffering, then this would be a characteristic of the world of Bodhisattva. That's why it's very high up, and we all kind of have the experience of how good it makes us feel, what a high life condition it is when you help another person, and it just makes you feel really good inside. World number 1, Buddhahood. This is at the very top and is considered the very highest life condition that a human can experience. The way I like to describe it is because there are 3 elements that are present there. Number 1, wisdom. Sometimes we could say even infinite wisdom. Number 2, life, strength, courage. And number 3, I think most importantly, is compassion. And I like to compare the world or life condition of Buddhahood to one of my favorite books, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And I think that there is a reason this book was made into a movie a very long time ago, and it was shown every year to a whole generation of people. And I think that it had so much importance, and it is still of importance today, because it had the key. The key, as you might say, to happiness and having some meaningful life. For example, the scarecrow who looked for a brain, he represented wisdom. If you could only have wisdom in your life, what a happy thing that would be. Number 2, the lion was searching for courage, or I like to think of it as just not necessarily courage like it takes to go into a fire and rescue people, but the strength of life to just endure and keep going no matter what happens to you in life. Sorry. Number 3, the Tin Man. I'm not starting this video over, doggone it. Number 3, the Tin Man. He sought a heart, which represents, of course, compassion, as we talked about in world number 2, Bodhisattva. And I think a very key teaching of Buddhism comes from this story, in that, did these 3 characters have to seek these things outside of themselves? Did they have to rely on the wizard, the man behind the curtain, to give them these things? No. They learned through their long journey, as you might say, through your journey of life, you learn that we already possess these things within ourselves already. We just have to become aware of that. We have to become enlightened to this fact, this key to the happiness in life. Thank you so much for watching.